Hi, my name is Phil Stückwart and I will introduce you to the new features in release 4.4. Like in every release, errors and bugs have been fixed and additional performance improvements have been made. The improvements means that significantly longer response times no longer occur when the server is under high load, for example due to many users working simultaneously or very complex reqSuite projects. But let's start right away with the most important new features that could affect the end users in particular. I would like to start with the grouping function of attributes. Each element of a category is basically described by its attributes, which are then displayed one below the other in the input form. And sometimes a large number of different attributes can lead to the user being overwhelmed. For this reason, the grouping function is introduced now. This allows you to define in the template how the attributes are grouped in the input form, so that you can understand what this looks like and what other functionalities are hidden behind it. Let's take a look at it together. For that, I have prepared a small project, and what you see here is a system requirement. And when I create a new system requirement, you see the IDs, the ID, the name, and the other attributes. And below that, below the priority, you see those software section, hardware section, and review section. These are the new groups. When I click on them, I open it, and underneath there, I see the grouped attributes. For example, these are more software specific, address software domain, for example, and I can close them and I cannot see them anymore because in some situation it's not needed for my task. But these are responsive too. That means when I create a new requirement, for example, I call it system requirement 1 and select a type. I have to distinguish between software and hardware because this requirement belongs to a software or a hardware. When I say, okay, it's a hardware, the hardware section will open immediately and I can add additional informations there. When I change it back to software, for example, the software section unfolds itself and I see the software specific attributes. That means the system or the front end itself can adapt to the situation. For example, also when I say, okay, this is the description and here the priority is high, this requirement belongs to the user interface and is not data sensitive, and I change its state to ready to review. Everything is in read-only mode and the review section has opened now. So that means that a reviewer, for example, can now add the review description and can write down a review result and accept the element, which then closes the review section again because this is not relevant anymore in this state, but you can still open it and see the content itself. Let's see how the template is created in the background. I changed to the template editor, open the system requirement and go to the input form. And what you see here is again the ID to the priority, and underneath there's the first software section. This is the new tab, the group functionality. You can add a new tab by clicking on this button and the new tab will add it underneath there. I can delete them for the moment. But what you can see here, every attribute which is dragged and dropped directly underneath one section will automatically insert it in them, and then it belongs now to this section or to this group. By drag and drop it back, you can remove it from the group. Keep in mind that every element under one tab belongs to this tab till you see the next tab. So that means under every attribute between hardware section and review section belongs to the hardware section. You can additionally click on this edit button where you can set the new title and edit the display condition. The condition behaves similar to edit condition. That means if there's no condition, the tab or the section will be open all the time when you open one element. If there is a condition, it will only open when the condition is fulfilled. If not, it's closed. And if it's closed or the condition isn't fulfilled, an alternative title is shown. So in this situation, I've selected the same title as in the normal situation, but added the not relevant, because it's easier to tell the user why this is not unfolded yet. So the user knows, okay, I don't have to edit anything inside this tab in this situation. Let's now move on to the next feature, namely the extended relationship attributes. Previously, it was only possible to add one attribute to the relation in order to better describe this connection, for example. We have further expanded this functionality. From now on, several relationships attributes can be created at the same time, the way as a category. For that, I can show you inside the template editor again how to configure that. Let's say we want to add relationships for the relationship between the test cases and requirements. For that, I can click on Edit Relationship, and now you see in the section Relationship Attributes a list of elements. In this list, there is only one for the moment. By clicking on the plus sign, I can add a new one, new attribute, and I can select the data type. From now on, it's also possible to select dynamic enumerations, not only enumerations, dynamic ones. And then I can save it. I leave it for the moment because I have prepared one. In this relationship, test procedure is defined by standard requirements. This is dynamic enumeration for the standard requirements, because I want to say between the relationship of a test case and a requirement means the test case is validating the requirement. And sometimes some standards tell how you have to test or how to verify this requirement. And then you can connect it. How it looks like in the front end, I jump to the test case, this for example, and now you can see it's validating the corrosion resistant housing. When I click on it, I have to jump back. That was the wrong button. When you click on the Manage button and select this one, you now see above the preview the relationship attributes. And you see test procedure is predefined by, and here I can select the list of standard requirements. In this case, in this project, there are only 2 ones in this demo, but you can select them and store them. Now let's move on to the new AI scope. We have updated the underlying generation of the GenAI language model and activated it for all AI functions. As a result, the generated content is generally of a better quality, such as the test case derivation, for example. In general, reqSuite continues to use its own isolated instance of the language model, which does not learn with the input data. This prevents, for example, sensitive data from being forwarded indirectly or unintentionally. For each request, all project-specific information required for this processing is therefore provided in the background automatically. This is also the case for the new AI-supported verification of refinement consistency. This helps with the evaluation of derived requirements from other requirements. I directly jump into the reqSuite again, and what you can see here, there's a system requirement, again, the corrosion resistant housing, and from that further module requirements are derived. The material selection, the coating of the housing, and the third module requirement, the color of the housing must be yellow. Sounds not so right at the moment, but I can click on the check button, and in the background, the AI checks if the content itself makes sense or not. And in this case, it tells you that that it doesn't make sense to only say, okay, the color must be yellow. There's no reason, because the yellow color, for example, helps to prevent corrosion, for example. So in this case, the consistency check helps you without really reading the content completely. Next, I would like to show you the new export features. The first change concerns the Excel and the Word export, and there we have extended the scope of the filter with first and last filters. With the min and the max commands, it is now possible to extract only the first or the last element from a list. For example, only the last and therefore important and interesting test result can be exported. I show you an example. Here I have the command module instances with which result or which it exports the whole list of all modules. And with the filter max ID, I only export the element with the highest ID, in this case the M6, and that's why I have only this as a result. Keep in mind, in this situation, the module here has only the ID and the name and the description and no other attributes. I directly jump to the next feature. We've added the parent elements command. That means I jump back to the reqSuite again. I have here an element category. When I show it here, it's only connected to other elements, a self relationship or self connection. And I have prepared this primary element, which is connected or which is a child element of parent element 1, 2, 3, and is also itself is a parent element from child 1, 2, and 3. So in the past, it was only possible to export every connected element from this one, or with the keyword with related children, it was only possible to export the children. So in this case, element instance, and I filtered it of the name, so I get only the primary element, and then with related children, I get the whole list children 1, 2, 3 of this primary element. And with the new parent tag with related parents, I'm now able to go the other way of the relationship, the other direction. So there's a primary element, and then there is the parent element 1, 2, and 3. Now let's move on to the remaining smaller features. It is now possible to copy views from one project to other projects. When do I need this? Many of our customers work on several projects at the same time, which in turn are based on the same template. As the working methods are similar too, it is logical that the data should also be displayed in the same way. Before this release, a special view had to be created, saved, and shared for each project, and now you can simply copy views to other projects in the management window. For that, I have prepared one view. You see still the list of elements, and I've created a view which only shows the parent elements. That means when I click on it, you see here the name contains parents, so only elements which the name contains the parent word. And now I can click on views, manage views, and I can here see the name of the view, the description, standard, check if this is a standard view or not, a shared view, and I can assign it to groups. And here's the export view button. When I click on it, I can either say I want to export it to all available projects, or by clicking on this button, I see only the available ones and can select one. Keep in mind that you can only export views to other projects in which you are also project manager, or let's say have access to. In addition to that, you can only share views from one project to other projects which based on the same template itself and on the same version, the latest version. So keep in mind that this is only possible in this situation. By clicking on OK, the view is copied to the other project, and for that I just jump to another tab. I have to refresh it here, and here's the view project. It's just an example without any data, but based on the same template. And when I now click here, I see the only parents 2. Here you can see it works, name contains parent, and by clicking on the manage view, I can still edit these elements. Keep in mind that it's just a copy, so when you make changes on the view in the other projects, it will not apply on these projects. Next, it is now possible to delete the rich text fields of each element by the bulk edit feature. To do this, I've prepared 2 elements of the type of the category module requirements, the MR4 and MR5. I select them, and here you see the description field, and I want to delete them. By clicking on the edit button, I can edit everything, and to delete a rich text field, I have to press 3 times the spacebar here you get the notification to delete the value for all elements, enter exactly 3 spaces. You can click on preview and now you see, okay, description text 1 is crossed and so they will delete it. And then when I click OK, I see it's deleted. The last change is not really a new feature, but it's just an optical change. We have replaced the icon that shows for each element that there is a quality problem. Because when you see here, the MR4, for example, has a quality problem because the description is not described yet. And before that, we've shown a yellow triangle, warning triangle, which says, okay, there is a quality problem, but this icon is used for a specific quality problem, that you don't get confused. Okay, there is a quality problem of this type. We've replaced it with a more generic one. This is a to-do list so that every user knows, okay, here's something to do with this element. This is the complete list of the main new features in release 4.4. If you have any questions, you can look it up in the handbook or feel free to contact us. See you. Bye.